Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. This is Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven, Unscripted Success podcast. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professionals who share their experience with you on how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Columbia, South Carolina, we got Josh Rabon. How you doing, young man?
Doing well. How are you?
Better than I deserve.
Yes, sir.
All right. Josh, do me a favor. What do you do? How'd you get to where you're at, and how long did it take you to do it?
Well, I'm managing partner of CEC. We are a site civil engineering firm in Columbia, South Carolina. I've been here for 11 years. I've been doing engineering for 18 years. Really, I graduated from the University of South Carolina in 2007 and started with another local consulting firm and really got my feet wet doing just everything that goes into site civil engineering. Left there, worked for the City of Columbia Engineering Department for some time, and then just kind of wanted to get back out in the private world. And then not long after I came to CEC, got an opportunity to buy into the company and become a partner. Really not a whole lot special. Right place, right time. I was the only licensed engineer, so that was kind of my ticket, and I like to think that I took advantage of it. We've done pretty well in the past 10 years. We've doubled in size and tripled in revenue, and really excited about kind of how far we've come and where we're going.
Nice, beautiful. Do me a favor. I'm a builder, so I understand a little more about site engineering. What is site engineering? What do you guys do?
So we basically land development. You can do, a residential subdivision, an apartment complex, a shopping center. You bring a raw site or a green site or maybe a site for redevelopment. And, we do the grading, kind of balancing the site, stormwater design and analysis, making sure that all the water quality requirements are met, making sure we're not causing any flooding issues. And then, we do, potable water, fire demand, as well as sewer design for any of those types of developments. It's kind of a site for civil engineers. Site development work is kind of like your general practice. You get to do a little bit of everything under the civil umbrella. So it's interesting. Bunch of different things you can see. Bunch of different. You're not doing the same thing day in and day out. So it's a good deal.
Nice, and I like how you segued into owning the business because you had the degree or you had the credentials for it. That's pretty cool. I like that. Give me a quick snapshot of what you do in the day for a day. Stomp out fires.
Pretty much, yeah. Glorified firefighter. So I mean, there are days that I'll be in meetings all day and never be in the office, and there's some days that are kind of a breath of fresh air that I sit in my office and just churn stuff out. Yesterday had a fire drill on a job site. Had to go meet with the contractor and troubleshoot some things, and and then as a business owner, you kind of have when you have personnel matters you have to deal with, or legal issues, accounting issues, insurance issues, or issues, matters, kind of handling all of that, day in and day out. You never know kind of what you're gonna be faced with, even if you plan your week out and it never quite goes exactly how you originally planned it to. But no, I mean, I enjoy it. I'm a natural introvert by nature. And not the most outgoing person, but the past 10 years I've been able to grow a lot professionally and personally, and I really couldn't see myself doing anything other than what I'm doing right now. So I have a lot of fun and I enjoy it, and been blessed to do it.
Awesome. There's a lot of engineers out there. Wondering what sets you apart, what comes easy to you that's challenging to other people.
That's a good question.
There's going to be a lot
There it
more of them
is.
too, so get used to it.
Yeah. No, in Columbia, I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. I grew up here, and it's certainly a night and day just in my professional career. The way it's changed, and certainly, you've got the Department of Transportation that is doing major interstate projects that are bringing in national contractors and national consulting firms that come in and they got a ton of resources. They have a ton of expertise. And again, engineers, there's hundreds of us that are licensed engineers. So what separates us? For us, I think it's just, we try to partner up with our clients. We try to get in and, get actively involved in the local politics, insight civil, land use and zoning is a huge part of it with the requirements. So trying to partner with with clients and with, landowners on advocating for private property, advocating for, responsible growth. You hear that word kind of twisted into whatever side you want it to be on, but I think everybody wants responsible growth. It's just a matter of how that's defined will be on which side of the argument you're on. But I mean, we try to, myself and then the leadership team here at CEC, we try to really have good relationships with local officials, regulatory staff, because everything that we do has to be reviewed and approved by, local jurisdictions. And, there's 6 counties and 15 different municipalities, and they all have their own codes and standards that have to be adhered to. So maintaining those relationships, trying to kind of, I try to not be too bombastic when I work with people, even if we're, in an adversarial transaction type deal.
Adversarial transaction.
So, I mean, just coming in, we're not going to agree. My job is to push back on some stuff, but, when I'm doing that, I'm trying to talk to you just like I'm talking today as I'm sitting here talking to you. Not just blowing people up. I'm definitely push. I'm sure there's several people that probably kind of roll their eyes when they see my name on the phone or in an email pop up, but try not to be the one where just like, this guy's just going to blow up at me or whatnot. So just trying to kind of be even keel and have good relationships with everyone and really focus on, getting things accomplished and moving down the road, really.
Nice getting the next segment done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no matter what that is. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. That sounds awesome. If someone wants to get better at what you do, what tips and tricks would you give them? What coaching would you give them?
Lifelong learning. So engineering is a science that doesn't change. Water runs downhill, and it's always going to run downhill unless you pump it. That's actually, one of our vetting questions in our interview process with prospective designers or engineers is I ask them, which way does water flow? And unfortunately, there are some that kind of hesitate before they answer that question.
Well, it seems like such an easy question.
That's right. The science behind it, is there, but again, for me, so constantly trying to learn and get better. If someone wants, you would be amazed at how much, if you go into the engineering profession, the science is what can be taught. The work ethic is not. So constantly trying to, I'm struggling with this, okay, well, bring me your problem, but also bring me a potential solution. And then we can work with that. Don't just keep bringing me, I'm stuck and I can't do it. What do I need to do next? Just kind of taking that next step. It builds trust from your superiors or your supervisors, but it also puts you in a different light to where they see you as someone who can think critically, think beyond just the checklist, think outside the box to move forward, and that takes time. Again, I'm 40 years old. I've been doing this for 18 years, and I'm just now wrapping my head around the fact that I'm not the new kid on the block that's trying to absorb all the knowledge. Don't get me wrong, I'm still trying to absorb a ton of knowledge from a lot of people that are a lot wiser and more experienced than me. But at the realization that there's a chunk of people that are looking at me as that person is a difficult, not difficult, is a weird pill to kind of swallow, to realize that you're at that stage. But I still, I do, that's from the engineering side. Then you got the business side of it. I enjoy reading books on business development, on business leadership, on economics, on just me personally, on Christian leadership. So different things like that, trying to constantly look for ways to get better, look for ways to make an impact. My wife works she's a teacher. She's a literacy coach now. She's been a teacher for 18 years, as long as I've been doing this. But her big deal. I super proud of her and her just passion for just wanting to make an impact. She's wanting to impact kids that you know in communities, and then that's kind of worn off on me. And yes, I'm running a business. I'm here to make a profit. I'm here to make sure employees are successful and can make a living, but also look for ways to make an impact. If not, through what we do, as much as it is just make an impact on the people that work here and on the people that I come in contact with in different professional settings.
Nice. That sounds good. What is one of the biggest challenges you had to overcome?
Personally, I would say my natural introverted personality. As I've forced myself to kind of get out and get in different professional organizations and mingle with after hours and kind of business connection type settings, I am 100% content and comfortable sitting or standing in the side of the room and not talking to anyone. When I'm not naturally gifted at going up and just small talking with people. But I realized very shortly after I kind of got into an ownership role. I mean, I was just going to have to figure out how to do it. And I did have my first boss was fantastic at it. I mean, the way he could work a room, the way he could just talk to anybody. It kind of basically provided a guidebook on kind of how to do it. Now, do we agree on everything? No, but I mean, as far as how to business networking, he was very good at it. And so forcing myself to get out of my comfort zone, to go talk to people, and just get in there and do it, has probably been the biggest challenge. And I still kind of have to do it my own way. I'm not a social butterfly, but I've gotten a lot. I mean, the more you do it, the easier it gets at that, and public speaking. Speaking at council events, advocating for a project or for or against a specific ordinance, can be daunting. When you first get into it, you feel like everyone's staring at you and you get all hot and sweaty and feel like a spotlight's on you. And then the more you do it, the easier it gets. Never gets easy, but it gets easier. So that's probably been the biggest struggle, is just kind of overcoming those natural personality quirks.
No, it seems like you're doing it great here on the podcast. Appreciate it. In every business, especially when you're an owner, there's a lot of risk. How do you deal with taking risk, and what is one of the times taking the risk worked out for you?
Well, I think when it worked out of, taking the risk of kind of jumping in, it was kind of a quick decision. I came to CEC July of 2014, and it was October that the discussions started happening about the two founders that started the company and ran it extremely well for 41 years, were wanting to retire. So, I mean, that was a huge risk. And there were some early on, there were some rocky, rocky months about, we really hope these clients or we get some checks in the mail so we can make payroll. And obviously you got to make payroll before you get paid. Fortunately, we've been very successful to kind of not that was an early on deal. We haven't really had that concern. I mean, anything can change. I mean, I'm not naive to think that we can't find ourselves back in that position is really, really quick. But that was probably the risk that worked out the best. It's been again. I really enjoyed it. I've been I can't see myself doing anything else, which is I guess a good problem to have. I don't really struggle with. I wonder what it would be like to do that instead of this. I mean, I really enjoy what I do. Um, had some uh, partnerships that didn't work out that were risky, that I wish they had, can't, but they didn't. And it's just kind of like, okay, as much as this stings, everything works out as it should. And what can we learn from it? And how can we, mitigate this moving forward? But I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, you do this long enough, you're going to have things that go really well and things that bite you in the rear. But I
Bite
mean,
you in the rear is a great analogy.
so that I think the biggest risk that we've overcome is just the fact of a shy little kid, being a partner and helping to run a pretty decent business in the Columbia areas.
That's awesome. That is great. It's a great success story. Love it. Absolutely love it. Um, Here's a question for you. Let me explain. Let me say this right thing. You're not that old, but let's just say you were a little bit older and you can go back to your 20s again. What would you do knowing what you know now? What would you do different? What would you do the same?
I'm gonna take that two ways. Financial literacy is something that I always knew that I wanted to study and be a student of, but I didn't really dive into it until later. So different investments, be it, brokerage accounts or real estate. And again, you got to start somewhere, but the interest, I wish I'd have been a little bit more interested in some, financial literacy stuff earlier on than, fantasy football and, living and dying by the South Carolina Gamecock football team. Um, and then the other one is just kind of stay in, not constantly comparing yourself to
That's a good
other
one.
people, constantly wondering how you measure up. And, it's easy to say that now, um, because of whatever perceived success I've had. But, in my 20s, I was very bad about, should I be more like that person or this person?
And which one would told yourself, which one would you have leaned to more now?
What do you mean?
So you said this person or that person, what person would you lean towards now when you were mentioning that?
Oh, no, just kind of just embrace yourself and put your own flavor on things. Don't try to. I mean, learn from people. Never, everyone's got something you can learn from. You can learn from them, but you trying to emulate and replicate somebody else and shortchanging the uniqueness and unique uh, things that you can provide and impart on people is don't shortchange yourself. Learn from other people, but don't necessarily try to replicate or be just like somebody else.
Gotcha. Be yourself. Be authentic. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Sounds like things are going pretty well for you financially. Thinking about the future, I'm curious, have you ever, I'm sure you have considered or created passive income? What advice would you give people on that?
Hey, for passive income, yeah, I've doing a little bit into, so one of the things that I've done, and this is, I guess, more personal finance than anything else, but, just, utilizing online savings accounts that have higher interest rates than the brick and mortar banks, utilizing, rewards for credit cards. Like everything that I do, my wife and I do now is basically we use credit cards like they're debit cards and pay them off every month. And then we get, $100 a month in credits, just so that we get paid $100 a month just to do it that way. So different things like that. I mean, it adds up over time. But I mean, I've gotten into some, brokerage account investing. And again, like I mentioned, I wish I'd have gotten into it sooner. It's a little bit more now. I work for a lot of clients who are very savvy financial people, and I could listen to them talk all day and just marvel at kind of how they do their stuff. And there again, a lot of it is just in awe of kind of their ability to do that. I hate losing money way more than I like making it. So the risk aspect of it is a tough one for me to get to overcome. So I'm getting into it slowly, but I think just start off with baby steps. Look for different ways you can kind of do some little things and then kind of work your way up bigger.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. We invest in multifamily. We love it. And wrapping up the interview, what exciting plans? What do you got planned for the next 6 to 12 months?
So for the next 6 to 12 months, business wise, I mean, we've got some projects that we're working on that are in the hopper that we're really excited about, and excited to land to hopefully to land that could really enhance kind of a big splash type project that we're hopeful that comes to fruition. And again, continuing to build on what we've done, building our staff, building our client base, building our footprint. We're again headquartered in Columbia, so we work very heavily in the Midlands, but we have projects all over the state and into Georgia, and have a few opportunities we're looking at in North Carolina as well. So some regional growth, and then personally, just I've got 2 boys. My oldest will be in high school next year. I can't even believe I'm saying that. And then my youngest is playing baseball and soccer, and just kind of doing everything I can to make sure I don't miss anything, that I'm there, and just making memories with them before they grow up and be gone, and enjoying the time with my wife, and just kind of enjoying where I'm at and making the most of it.
That sounds like a great plan. That sounds like the best plan I've heard in a long time. That's awesome. Hey, listen, Josh, thanks a lot for your time. Really do appreciate it. And if somebody would like to get in touch with you, I mean, I've off camera got your number because I'll need some engineering relatively soon. How would they get in touch with you? How would they contact you?
Best way is email Josh, Josh, at cecola.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. We do appreciate it. And if anybody would like to contact Josh, please do. He's one of engineering is a tough gig. You make it sound easy, like which way does water flow, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Yes, appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you being on the show. Thank you very much for being there. And then for everybody else, please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.